10. Is there any public comment on all non-agendized items that anybody want to have? Mr. Kuzma?
If you don't mind, I'm going to kind of walk over to this end here.
Non-agendized items.
And these are items that are not on the agenda.
Yeah.
One of the things that has come to my attention recently is some decisions that have been made by the Old Granada Hills Residents Group, of which several of the committee members on this committee belong to, save for, well, actually all of you save for one. And I was looking at your Old Granada Hills Residents Group newsletter, and apparently that group has already taken positions before this neighborhood council took positions on items like cell tower regulations and sublot subdivision guidelines and proposed baseline mansionization ordinance and interim control ordinance. These decisions are being made before you even get here sometimes, according to that newsletter. So I'm really concerned about a conflict of interest in decision-making. As one topic comes up tonight, Mr. Mansker, I think I heard you say once you live within 500 feet of the cell tower at Encino in
Yes,
Chatsworth, and in which case I would hope that when that comes up tonight, you would hope to consider recusing yourself.
This is the Granada Hills South Neighborhood Council and not the Old Granada Hills Residents Group. That's a private 501c3 organization. And every board member all over the city probably belongs to a similar organization. And as a matter of fact, that organization created this organization. So yeah, you are going to see some parallels in that, but there is no conflict of interest.
Well, there's a possibility of serial meetings when two or more of you talk
Let
together.
them comment, but I just want to let them know. Well, we have an audience here, and I want them to know that there is a separation between the two organizations. Okay, starting off, old business. Use of street parking by businesses at 10660 White Oak Avenue. Discussion of the use of residential street parking by commercial tenants of 10660 White Oak Avenue on inquired utilization of parking lots located on an adjacent property. Anybody wants to deal with this? I know I met with John Liu, Mitch Englander's, our councilman, Mitch Englander's chief of staff. And we did talk with the owner of that building at the corner of Kingsbury and White Oak. And he's basically what he says is that his tenants who are all on the second floor are able to park in the back parking lot. But I did point out the fact that the reason they don't is because the adult daycare who are allowed to roam free in that back parking lot, they probably don't want their car set on, so rather than utilizing that parking lot behind, choose to park on the street, and he would charge them extra to park on the parking lot on the west side of White Oak. So, if anybody has anything else to say? Well, I'm just giving them the background on it. Is there any public comment on this? Anyone? Okay, so far, as I said, we did speak to the owner, and his position is it's a separate issue, and there is parking for his tenants, but he can't determine for them where they choose to park or not. But I am going to continue to talk with John Lee, Mitch Englander's chief of staff, on this issue. The city is talking about, Mitch Englander is talking about perhaps purchasing that lot and opening it up as a parking lot for the community to help support the neighboring businesses along Chatsworth Street.
Yeah, but if they do that in the commercial building, where are they gonna do their parking? See, that's supposed to.
They'll be free to park there,
Okay.
in that lot.
Okay.
That lot will be
All right.
open to anyone who would like to park there.
And also, I think the city attorney and the police are looking at the validity of their state licensure.
Yes.
They're also looking at that, because
Yes.
that comes into question as well.
Yes, they are. Okay, next, B, cell tower aesthetics, 17715 Chatsworth Street, discussion and recent upgrades to the cell tower at the rear of the property and the current state of the camouflage. Any public comment on that? Yes, Mr. Cook?
All I want to say is the first time I noticed it, Mr. Mansker, I felt like, why did they do that? Because all of a sudden now I look at it every time I pass by, and in the past when it was just an ugly looking thing, I never noticed it because it got faded. So
Yeah.
what they did really didn't help the situation, in my
No, they
opinion.
didn't, and that's one of the older cell towers, and that was before the new rules came in, that they had to do a better job of camouflaging it, and that's still ongoing discussions that we're having. It's not Synergy.
Oh, no, I'm just-
I thought Synergy, we have a pretty good relationship with Synergy, who does a lot of the cell towers for Verizon and some of the others, but that's still going on. Anyway, C, off-site temporary signage blight at 18137 Chatsworth Street, discussion and possible, discussion of temporary H&R block signs placed in the public right-of-way on the adjacent properties. Any discussion, public, any public comment on that? Yeah, John?
I thought it was illegal to do and somebody was gonna file a complaint. or
Yes,
something.
and their thing was, go ahead, file your complaint, and our lawyers will deal with it. They're a corporation. They feel like they can wear you down with their lawyers rather than do anything about it. So we are filing complaints with the attorney's office.
Has anything been filed yet, because this was last month? And it's a
that,
simple
you know what?
complaint, and I don't buy it that they're a corporation. If they're breaking the law, they're breaking the law. like
Oh,
that.
I agree, but their thing
And who has
is,
filed it on behalf of this council?
yeah, last I heard, Jerry was dealing with that, and,
Okay.
I don't know what the outcome has been, but you know these things, you could file a complaint, it could take 2 or 3 months before it's even taken up.
Yeah, well, if we file a complaint with the neighborhood prosecutors, they should get
And
it right
that's what
away. And
we're
he's
doing.
done that?
I believe so. I think, if not, I will follow up.
Okay.
Do we need a motion to do that, Eric, or? you're gonna
No,
follow it?
not to inquire to the neighborhood prosecutor, you don't need anything.
Well, I think it's good if we have a motion that says that the board asks the neighborhood prosecutor to file.
Well, we can do that as stakeholders.
I'll do
No, I want to form a
I'll do a
motion.
motion on behalf of the
Okay.
committee. So I propose that we file a formal complaint or a letter, letting them know on behalf of the community that we would like them to follow the rules and the regulation of Granada Hills signage.
Sign rate.
Second motion.
Okay. Cindy. Okay. Motion to file a complaint, brought by Cindy, seconded by John, to file a complaint with the neighborhood prosecutor's office, about the H&R block signage on public right of way.
Yeah, maybe instead of the word complaint, maybe like a letter of awareness. Well, you know.
Well,
letter
it's a
of-
complaint that they are violating, the signage rules on the
Right,
public
that we
right of
need
way.
to follow.
Yeah. Any discussion?
Eric, who's the letter to be filed to?
The neighborhood prosecutor's office.
Okay.
Yes.
Maybe just a suggestion for a little rewording, that maybe it's a letter of recommendation to the neighborhood prosecutor's office to take action against H&R Block for the illegal placement of the signs. In other words, we don't want them just to you're asking them to take an action against them, not
Just complain.
not making a complaint. You're asking them to take action against a violation.
If it's determined.
You're recommending that they take action against the violation.
Take action if it's determined it's a violation.
Right.
Yes.
They're to take action if it's determined to be
Yeah.
not in compliance.
Well, you
Or
have to file a
determined not to be a
complaint.
violation.
Yeah. Okay, that would be amended. Cindy?
Yes.
He made an amendment to your,
Yes, so whatever.
you wanna amend that?
Yes.
Motion to take action, against, H&R Block for violations of illegal signage on public right of way.
Yes, shall it be determined that they're in violation? Notice that you guys don't have agenda, so just wanna make sure you guys can follow along. You're welcome.
Call for the question.
Yeah, as soon as she sits down.
Yes. So should we
No,
say it
well,
again?
yeah, I already stated.
Yeah.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Say nay. Okay, unanimous. Next up, proposed wireless telecommunications facilities, southwest corner of Chatsworth and Encino, Verizon Wireless and Synergy Development, SVC, proposed to install screened antennas on the roof of the existing building. The north, east, and west facings of the building. Height exception to the Granada Hills specific plan may be required, a height exemption. Have this gone any place, Maria?
Not that I know of. I believe that the applicants were supposed to come back to the committee with an alternate, site, but this has been dragging on for months. My concern is that something may happen without our knowledge, you know, because this is just dragging on for months.
Has anybody contacted, what's his name over at Synergy?
What was his name? I think Jerry was supposed to contact him, or he was supposed to come back to us with a proposal.
Yeah, he
But
did.
they-
Last time he was here, he said he'd come back to us.
Yeah, but we haven't heard from them. So my concern is if we don't hear from them, something could just happen, boom.
I don't know.
Without our commenting, without our taking a position or anything like that.
You know, it's never really been Synergy's thing. They've usually been fairly upfront. But you know what, the only thing we can do is look into it for right now.
Okay, but it needs to be followed up.
Yeah, okay. New business, discussion and possible committee action for a zone variance concerning property at 17178 Germain Street. This request comes from the property owner. Okay, we have the property owners here. Could you please,
Excuse me, was there any public comment before the wireless?
no,
No public comments?
Any public comment before? Okay.
no, there was no.
All right.
Yes, go ahead, give your presentation, please.
Yeah, I'm a general contractor, and I have a client that has a property in Granada Hills on Germain Street. And it's a existing recreation room.
Does everybody have a copy of the site plan?
No.
I can have it for you.
Here. Can I have you put it up?
Sure.
You guys.
Oh, they're the owners, they've got the
Oh, there.
plans.
Oh, okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jim, I have a complete set here if you want.
So there's an existing recreation room which almost complies with this rules set by the state of California. There was an Assembly Bill passed 1866 that gives everyone the right to have an additional dwelling unit on their property.
Wait a minute. Excuse- You're right, everybody has a right to have a position of dwelling unit, but wasn't this originally a rec room?
This was a rec room, but we wanted it to be converted to an additional dwelling unit.
When was the rec room constructed?
2011.
2011. For an additional dwelling unit, the setback for the rear property line is 15 feet, and this is 10. So we're seeking a variance to change that. Also, there's a little discrepancy. It's slightly larger than 1/3 the size of the existing building, which is another rule that calls for a variance to allow this unit to be converted.
Because it's 30% larger?
You're allowed by right to build an additional dwelling unit 30% of the size of the main home, as long as it meets all the normal requirements for setbacks, fire code, building code.
No.
No.
Let me ask you.
And now this, you guys can change these rules and make them stricter, but you can't make them easier, really. You can only support.
You said the rec room was built in 2011?
Correct.
When did you start the conversion to second floor?
I'm just starting right now.
Is it complete?
No.
What's left to be done?
It's gas meter, electric meter, the bathroom can be modified, and also the parking needs to be widened in the front.
Okay, so how much room do you have for off-street parking right now?
We have one spot plus the driveway, so we'll need to make one more spot
Where are you gonna put that?
right in the front, next to the other spot here.
There's no room for that.
Eric, can you have
There's no
designate for
space.
that, so I understand?
Existing, here in the front, 117 square feet for carport.
Correct, so we can have one spot right behind that as a tandem spot.
In other words, you want to extend the carport out towards the street?
I wanna get it approved, just parking.
Yeah, because the carport's already there.
Right, so we have one covered and one uncovered.
So the car's gonna park in the driveway,
In
so
the
to speak,
driveway.
because it's a very small carport.
It's
Not
very
only that,
small.
but I believe the garage was turned into a bedroom or some kind of living space in that house at one time.
The
It was
original,
really
the
nice.
original house in front.
Right.
Okay.
It was, with
Yeah.
correct.
Oh, okay.
A lot of the houses seem like down in the neighborhood.
And then they built a carport to make up for it.
Where's the third cargo?
We don't need 3 cars, we only need 2,
No need to.
Oh, okay.
and one has to be covered. Which would be a small car. But usually these additional dwelling units, you know, they're gonna have 1 car. They're not like a family that's gonna have 2 more cars. So it's not really an impact on the city.
How many bedrooms is the first house?
3.
So where are they gonna park?
So,
So they have
I
2.
don't know about you, but I got kids. My kids all have cars.
That's true.
So basically, the whole property's gonna have only 2 parking spots, that's it, the total?
Correct.
For both
That's what's
units?
required, yeah.
I know it's required, but.
Are you guys residences?
Mhm.
Did you guys? If any of you or Eric is okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, if any of you wanna speak, we,
If
you
you
know,
put a
public
car-
comment, we love.
Yeah,
Are you
yeah,
done
we
with
can-
your
we can-
presentation?
If you
Okay.
put a car in there, you're not gonna be able to open the doors of the car to get out.
Yeah. So public comment, if you wanna,
It's a very narrow.
if you guys wanna say something about it, just wanna.
Okay. Jim?
Yeah, I have a question.
Oh.
What is your reason, your hardship for the variance? It has to fall into side street, topography, or surroundings to the neighboring properties. You have to have a reason.
We're a family ages, people need like a granny unit.
Yeah.
And it's been approved by the state, basically.
No.
No, the state didn't approve it, the state said
variance.
that this is
It's
what
allowable.
you can do. That's
Correct.
what the state
If you have the
allows.
proper setting.
Correct.
Can I say something? The
Yes.
reason why I want,
She's the owner.
I'm the owner. I'm the owner. Oh, sorry. The reason why I want a separate meter is because my mom lives in Arizona. And I want to bring her over so she can live with me, but she wants to pay her own way. So that's the reason why I wanna have the meters put, and she doesn't drive.
So you live in the
She takes
front
buses.
house?
Yes. Me and my husband live in the front house, and I've had that back there since 2011. And the only reason why I want to have the separate meters put on is because of my mom coming. It's
I
been there.
I have a question for you.
Sure.
Really, somebody's living in that house?
No, nobody's living there right now.
In the front house?
We are.
You are?
Yeah, we are.
And I have a question of the builder, please. Sir,
Yes.
could you please stand up at the podium? I have some questions for you. We did some searching on the websites, and here, this 800 square foot unit, here the rec room is pictured. And the interior has already been completed.
They've done some of that, yeah, they have a correction notice to remove it.
Why didn't you mention that tonight?
I've never actually even been in the unit.
But you're.
But who did these plans?
I did plans.
So when was this constructed? Because the bathroom and the bathtub have already been added. When was this done? Because I don't have dates.
I'm not really sure, to be honest, maybe 6 months ago. I know they do have a correction notice, and I'm here to,
Excuse me, sir. You're in charge of these plans, correct?
correct,
I don't see any dates on these plans,
okay?
number one. And number two, when I did some searching on the website, the structure on the inside has already been completed. So these plans that you have here, the proposed plans from a rec room, have already been converted, but I see no permits on building and safety.
There's no permits except for the recreation room.
There's no permits except for the recreation
How
room.
do you do that?
But how did this get done? Why?
It wasn't me that did it.
Well, then
I mean,
who
the
did?
Owners
Be-
did it, you
because-
know?
because see-
Then why are you here?
The
I'm here
plans,
to make this a legal situation.
but the proposed plans, okay, you're coming to us with proposed plans. This is a proposal,
Correct.
but the proposal has already been completed.
Yeah, it's not a proposal, it's a done deal.
It's already been done.
Not legally, they really have to remove
Well,
all
we
that
realize
stuff.
it's not legal, but you've already done the work, and now you're asking after the fact that you want to get something approved by us so you can go forward. I'm not seeing that. On top of that, we also did some searches, and it's been up for rent. Your mother isn't moving in there unless you're renting it to her, and for that, you don't have to put it up for rent on Zillow.
There's several websites that have listed this property for rent at $1,700 a month. So is that for your mom to be renting?
That was, and I'm not gonna be doing that anymore. I'm not gonna be
Yeah,
doing that.
but you
I'm
just
not gonna-
came here and said that that's exactly what you wanted to do.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do now, but in the past, yes.
This
In the
is
past,
active,
yes.
this is active, right?
No, it's not.
It's not,
No,
so.
it's on the
Because I
website.
have
I know,
It was
access.
I've been
told-
having a
I
problem.
think they were told to remove it.
And they've been
when
having a
the code
problem
enforcement came out,
to remove
but
it.
I don't think it happened.
It's
So-
not being rented.
My background is real estate.
Sure.
So I'm a realtor.
Uh-huh.
And by looking at this,
Mhm.
it appears that you guys had hired a Keller Williams agent to rent out this property.
Mhm.
And one of the perks or the benefit is that, hey, there's a room there's a guest house in the back, which would increase your rental amount.
That's the back.
And so I'm actually gonna pass this around so the public can see as well. So we actually have a printout of the ad with what it looks like inside. And, right, so that's the front house. And we actually actually, and thank you, Maria, for doing the research. And, so it's, one of the perks is saying that, the back house has already been completed. The private guest house is completed. So how long ago was this?
December.
So this was done December,
And it
right
was-
now we're March.
Right, and it has not been rented. It's not gonna be rented, my mom's gonna move in.
Got it.
She's-
So while I pass this around so the public can also see, you guys can.
We have stakeholders here, I'd like to get,
And
their
then I'm
input.
gonna pull up the.
Yeah, okay, yeah, you
We are the property owner adjacent to the west side of the
could.
subject property.
One of our attorneys.
Hey,
Hey, Mr. Larson?
Larson, sir.
Yes. Yes.
We are the property owner adjacent to the west side of the subject property. And our concern with the structure is that when it was first going to be built, we were told that that was a storage. Because this family is supposed to be residents of that property are using that for their business, and they never really lived there. I think they were using that also as a listed reference as their property, as to where they live, so that the kids could come to Granada Hills. But they never really lived there. They probably go there in the morning, live in the evening, and so forth. Okay, so I beg the difference. And secondly, is that then we started seeing renters coming out of the property. And the reason why we confirmed that is because this renter has been parking, blocking our driveway. We talked to them a few times, they just ignored us. And they were within the legal limits because we called the cops and they said that you have to be down on the driveway before they can do anything. But they just keep on doing that. So there were renters there.
How long ago was that, sir?
Oh, this was going on for about a year.
Really? So this property's been rented for
It
about
has
a
been
year?
rented.
My sister lived there, she lost her house.
There was even a gentleman there who was living there who works for the school.
My sister was living there, she
But there
lost
was
her
a
house.
gentleman also who was living there who worked for the school.
And how many cars did your
And
sister
he
have?
introduced himself as the renter to my
Yes.
husband.
She had one car.
Well, that doesn't account for all the cars.
Okay. And then all of a sudden we heard that this was a rec room. And then now we are hearing that this is going to be an additional dwelling. Because of this inconsistency for the purpose of this structure, we are really very concerned because the family of my wife has been here since what, 30?
Since the house was built in the 40s.
Okay? And our neighborhood there has kept that personality and that particular peace that we have had there for so many years. And all of a sudden this thing comes up that, it's causing us tremendous parking problem that have caused numerous times accident because we have to drive out of our driveway because they were so close that we have to cross almost the street before we can make turns. And that was continuously going on.
Sir, how many cars do you think were parked out in front of your house? In front of that house? How many cars do you think belong to that rental property?
At least two. At least two.
Okay. And they were blocking?
And that is aside from the ones that are parked on the driveway.
Oh, okay.
So two other cars
Altogether.
outside of the two already in the driveway?
Yes,
Altogether, how many cars?
about four.
That's on a consistent basis?
It is almost as consistent as you may project in the morning that would happen. Except after around maybe before you go to work or something like that, they leave for work. But at night, that is, you can bet on that.
I object.
And then,
Wait a minute, sir, sit down, he gets a chance to speak, and then I'll give you a chance to stand up and
Yeah.
explain.
yeah, the history of this is that, there's a lot of people who wants to better themselves in form of income and so forth, okay? Our concern here is the fact that history reflects that these people does these variances and so forth, which is self-serving. And then after that, they leave the community. And we, who has always been there, and like our neighbors in here, likes to have a neighborhood that's peaceful. That is the reason why we reside there. It is not because of self-serving people who wants to better themselves and then leave us with all these problems. And this is very common. This is a lot of numerous tales like that. And the worst part about it is that if we continue giving out these variances, the community will start to deteriorate. Pretty soon, we will be just like other communities out there where there are 10, 15 families living in one community. I don't think you guys would like this, would you? You guys being in the real estate, I don't think that you would love properties listed like this one.
We are vehemently opposed to something like that, just so you know.
Thank you very, very much.
And our
That is
city
why we
attorney
are concerned.
can attest to that.
So thank you very much, and that's what we have to say.
Okay.
Anyone else have anything to say?
Yeah, I have a real quick question. Okay, because I did ask you if the property is vacant. When I was dropping off flyers, I did look inside the property, and there were boxes in the corridor. There's also boxes in the parking way, so to me it looks vacant. So who's living there?
Well, we have, since we purchased the property, we have been, my kids been going to school at the Little Shepherd of Church, and from there they all transferred to Helpers Christian School. They all went there, so we're not here just because of the schooling. They all went to Shepherd of the Helps, then they went to Helpers Christian School, and they all finished there. So we've been in an area for over 12 years.
The question is, do you live in the house?
We live partial. I do my business and I do live there, yes.
Okay, so just to clarify, so you go there for your business, but you guys don't technically reside there. In other words, if I was gonna pull up your name, because I have the access
Yeah,
to do
right,
that. If I was gonna pull up your name,
Yeah.
I could see another house in your name.
Well, I have 4 properties,
Okay,
yes.
so the
4 or 5
question,
properties.
the question that our committee member Maria is asking is, you know, in a full day, do you reside there? Do you live there? Because she personally went there and saw the house was vacant.
24 hours a day, no, we're
No.
not living there.
Okay, so be very specific. So you do not live there. You work from there, but you don't live there.
We do spend the night there. We do take a shower there.
Okay.
So,
Our kids
I
go
mean,
there.
sometimes. So in
Yeah.
other words, you
Yeah.
use it like a second home from time to time.
let's put it
It's
this
not your
way.
primary home, right?
Let's put it this, we spend there about 4 days a week
Okay.
out of 7. We spend it there.
And there's.
And the
Okay.
kids go to
What
school.
kind of business do you have?
Oh, I just a distribution of magistrate. It's a magistrate coordinator. It's a distribution. I buy stuff from companies and then I just ship
We're,
it to them.
you know, just for clarification, I think and I'll just speak for myself, I think it's okay if you come here and just say, hey, it's our second home, you know, we just do business out there.
Yeah.
It's okay with whatever you use the house for, because it's your right, but we just ask to be honest and straightforward with what you guys use it for,
Yeah.
whether it's primary, secondary, or a lot of people, you know, work all of a house, so it's
Yeah.
not an issue, so we just ask for that to be upfront about
Well,
everything.
if I mislead you guys, I apologize. But you know, the fact is that I do live I shouldn't say live now. I
Mhm.
take that word back because you guys disagree. I do stay there. I do spend a night there. I do, you know, take my kids to Helpers Christian School. I do take, you know, my wife works there at the Helpers Christian School. You know, so yes, you know, so, and I do
We're
my
just
business.
asking about the property itself, not where you work. I
Well, no, just to let you know that we're not, you know,
Yeah.
Okay,
we're
can-
not here just for property.
I also like to make a comment. There are some regulations against home businesses in certain properties in certain residential districts, especially those zoned R1. So I'm not exactly sure what kind of business you do have, but that also could be a questionable use if you are running some kind of a business out of your house.
Well, like I said, it's a distribution. I call in people and they drop ship it to other people. So, but since my wife and my kids, everybody works on this side of the town, we stay here. So,
Okay, because
I
So
agree that-
where's your other house?
Los Angeles.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why the 310 phone number?
Yeah, right,
Okay.
right.
Yes, Mr. Cooper?
I have a couple questions, and then I'd like to
Yes.
make a comment if it's okay. And the first question is what are the side yard setbacks on the existing structure?
5 feet,
5 feet?
correct,
So you got 5 feet on the sides and 10 to the back.
correct.
And second question, Maria, you says it's permitted, you checked the permits I'm taking. Is it permitted as a storage structure, or is it permitted as a rec room? Is that square footage included with the tax assessor square footage on the house?
Yes.
And you had a
All
total square footage?
800, 20 by 40.
No, for the house and the unit, what was the total?
The house is 1495. The
Okay,
front house is 1495.
because I didn't see the additional structure on Zemus when I looked, so that's
It's
why the
very
question.
convoluted.
And I didn't see the additional square footage on the tax records for the existing structure.
No, you won't see them on tax records.
And of course, you know, my concern was is today the city council passed the interim control ordinance that's gonna go to the mayor for his signature, which is, you know, if it was converting storage to living, then it was gonna be a moot point, basically, right? So.
That's a different point.
Well, but again, my point is now we're gonna have this interim control ordinance, which restricts us to adding.
Let's get back to business.
Well, it was just
Okay.
related in the sense that,
Excuse me, let's get back to business.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is there any other, I don't know, is any other homeowner that wanna talk?
I think Jim said it all pretty much.
Ms. Larson, you got anything?
I don't think, I missed most of this whole hearing, so I'll ask you what happened afterwards.
Well, because this was brought to us, and it was brought to us really convoluted. I mean, I've heard so many stories about what was and what isn't, and I still don't feel that I've heard the truth. So I'm gonna have to have a motion that this variance be denied.
I second the motion.
Can I throw a motion
No, you gotta.
there? I'm all for it.
Okay, so you're asking, okay, so the request is a zoning variance and a zoning variance only, correct? What are you trying to square up? Because
Basically,
we got
they have this
underwood.
building in the back, okay?
Yeah.
They want to make an additional dwelling unit. For me to get it to the city without any problem, I need a variance for the rear yard setback from 15 to 10 feet.
Thank you.
And
also the
oversized
size of
structure.
it is, it's
An
too big.
oversized structure.
And then they require a density, which is the size structure variance. The other option I would have basically is cut off 5 feet off the back, and I could get it to pass tomorrow.
Start
But
cutting.
why do that when you have a structure that's there?
Yeah, but it was how it got there.
I have the building permits in my truck
Yeah.
showing that it's been approved.
Yeah, well, why aren't the building permits listed on the plans you gave me?
Sometimes clients are naive and they didn't know what they had to do exactly.
Yeah,
I'm
you
here
know
to
what?
like fix the problem.
I've been a contractor myself. I've lived in this area for years. In fact, my first house was right on the corner of Germain and Louise. So, only a block away from you. And in fact, I know a number of people who live around you personally, who are all friends of mine. And I've been on this planning and land use management committee for 8 years. And this is really convoluted. You know, if you had came up to us honestly, you might have gotten a little bit, I'm not saying we would have agreed with you, but at least we wouldn't have had to dig through all these different stories that you've been telling everybody, including your neighbors. You've told them different stories, and you've told us different stories, and then we go online and we see stuff for rent. And so just on the face of it, because I still don't believe we've heard everything, I'm gonna make a motion to deny all your requests. for a variance at this time. And do I get a second? I believe Maria?
Maria second.
Okay, can I just make it a little more clarified? Can I
Sure
make
you
a friendly
can.
amendment? That we deny the variance for the setback, deny the variance for the oversized structure, and deny the variance for the density,
Yes,
all three.
yes,
Okay.
that's part of the motion.
So if you can restate the motion again.
Yeah, we.
I got one last thing. So, do you guys don't really have a set standard to deny this on?
Yeah, we can.
Yes, we do.
Is there a density standards for Granada
Yes,
Hills?
there is.
That's not what.
You were the one that brought up the density.
Yeah, you
I'm just
you're the one who
wondering.
came up to us
I'm
and asked
asking
for
about
it.
it.
Well, you're the one that came up to us with, that somebody wanted you to do a density variance. So we are coming back with exactly what you said to us.
And we can deny
That's
what
fine.
you ask us,
Yeah,
because
that's
you
fine.
just
Well, I'm just
stated it.
wondering, does Granada Hills have a plan that for these additional dwelling units?
Yes, we do. All in favor?
No discussion.
Aye.
Well,
Well,
Let's have a little
we've just had.
You have a
discussion.
motion now, so we get another
Yeah,
chance.
okay, yes, you do. Mr. Coons?
I think that they actually, I have a plus and a minus. The plus is that it's an existing structure that was permitted as living square footage, so I don't see why there should be an issue of a setback with the backyard setback if this building was permitted in 2011. Because permitted as recreation, it means it's living space and counted in the square footage. Please let me finish, Mr. Mansker. The second thing is the real problem here is they're trying to make it in. Well, from my point of view, and please, it's just, I heard this is for Mom. I understand, Mom. I'm going to be dealing the same thing with my mom very shortly. She wants to pay her own way. She doesn't want to be a burden, but she's to that point she can't drive pretty soon, and my wife doesn't work, so she can do all those things with her. But the point is that they can have this permitted as the granny flat, per the granny flat rule, if they're allowed to. I don't know whether the variance would come into play, but as a granny flat, but that would then not allow the separate metering of the property,
Exactly.
which is, I guess, what you're really after. So, it's kind of a catch-22 in a way, but there is an alternative.
And as I said, because we don't really know all the facts, because so far the facts have been very convoluted, I haven't even seen a permit. So, I'm taking you at your word that it is permitted, but
It is
I
not,
can't- I
no, it
can't-
is not the extra construction is not permitted.
Exactly, so with all of that, I cannot reasonably entertain any other motion but to deny your motion, your request for a variance. And so at this point in time, if there's no more,
Yes, I do have a point of clarification with the builder. You're coming to us with a density request for a variance. Where did you come up with that information?
State of California gives us the right to build this additional dwelling unit on any property in California zone R1, or any R zone.
That's true.
Their requirements to not have to go through anything is the rear unit can't be 30% bigger than the front unit. And it needs to meet the setbacks as if it was an original house. So, if this unit was bigger in the front, then that would be okay.
There's one big problem is the setback. Because in 2011, I'm not sure how that rec room got approved with that 10-foot setback. Because even as a rec room, according to what I'm reading in codes,
Unless you sleep in it, it's not sleeping.
any structure.
Any structure, I've read that a rec room, according to code, I got the references here, that the rec room has to also have a 15-foot setback in the rear.
That's not correct. I just went to apply for another rec room,
Really?
5 feet rear property line.
Really, like a garage?
Basically.
Here in Granada Hill?
Granada Hill, 5 feet.
Good, when you come before us, we'll be able to tear that down too.
It's a state, it's your rule.
Well, wait a minute, there are It may be a state rule, but there are variations to that rule within counties and municipalities.
Correct.
So, you
And
make it
this
sound
county-
like, oh, well, you know, this is the panacea. It's not.
So give you a little background, Maria. She's very well informed on our, Granada Hills specific plan, and this is kind of what should we end this on, I think. But she's very, very, very educated when it comes to permit any ruling.
Unless you can cite me something else, I picked this up off of Order to Comply Los Angeles. The construction of recreation room must comply with all property lines, setbacks, and height restrictions for the allowed specific property. It doesn't tell me an exception like a garage that has applied to a setback. It says it must comply to all setbacks of the property.
Right, this must comply with all setbacks, but the setback for a recreation room is less than for living space.
No.
If you can give me that.
I could give it to you
Okay, I
tomorrow.
like to have that, because,
Yeah, Jim?
Yeah, a couple of things I've been hearing, and I don't think a rec room is living space. It shouldn't be counted as living space.
It's not.
Okay. And when they build, that's why they're more liberal on having the rec room closer to a lot line, because nobody's gonna be living there. And the reason a lot of the conversions, like garage conversions, rec room conversions, the city of LA is trying to crack down on this a little, is because they're not built to the same code and safety features that are in a regular house. So that's why the difference between the rec room. I think, there's a lot of land here. I mean,
It's
you certainly
9,500.
have the right to build a accessory dwelling unit all in between here.
And-
That meets it. But I understand you wanna save money and do this, and you can do the 5 feet there and redo it.
They say I could make the back a closet or something, just seal it.
Well, no, you make it.
But-
But it is at an
Let me
expense,
say,
but I was
just-
wondering, you have to, if you're applying for a hardship on this, which it sounds like, right?
Correct.
Okay, you have to meet one of the, and if you correct me on this, either size, shape.
You know what, I can't say anything until your
Okay,
hearing's over.
okay.
When your hearing's over, you close it down, so.
Okay. But it has to apply to size, shape, location, topology, or surroundings compared, why this lot is special compared to other lots around it. And I don't think it is special, it's just like all the lots around it, so what is your reasoning or hardship for this? It has to be one of these, topology, size, shape. So what, I didn't get that.
We don't have this topology size shape. We have this aging population in California, and these granny units are just a thing that's happening now.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm closing debate.
okay.
Again,
Let's just say variances, Eric. I'd like to make another friendly amendment. Let's just call it variances.
yeah, well, yeah, my motion is to deny all variances with regards to this property at this time. All in favor, please raise your hand. That's unanimous. Let's move forward. We got another lot of gentlemen.
While you're looking to see the list, quick comment.
But what? It's over, it's done. Okay, short-term room and home rental. Bureau of Short-Term Rental Regulations recently adopted or proposed by the San Francisco and other cities development of policies and ordinance to govern short-term rentals within the city. This has to do, I believe, with Airbnb. That's been in the news lately, people renting out their house on a short-term basis and causing problems. Maria, did you have anything to?
Yeah, technically, it's an illegal use in a single-family residence, and that's also been verified